Right, here's an excellent style question involving parabolas, finding the equations of. We have a water slide constructed using parts of two parabolas that intersect at the point when x equals 8. So it's a parabola coming down here, and obviously somewhere about here at x equals 8. Then we begin a second parabola that's clearly going upwards. The slide starts flat, which means that must be a vertex, and finishes flat, so there's another vertex. And we're told that this point here, x equals 20, and it's got a height of 0.5. So that point, the vertex, is the point 20, 0.5. Passes through two other points. We've got the point 4, 24.5. Now 4 will be around about here. So we have another point on the parabola, 4 and 24.5. And we've got this point here, 14 and 5. Now 14 is somewhere in between here, so there's another point on my parabola over here at 14. And that's the point 14 with a height on the slide of 5 meters. Determine the height of the top of the slide, so we want to know the height of the slide at the beginning by modelling with two parabolas. So to find the equation of a parabola on our calculator, we need 3 points of the parabola. If we were to look at this parabola here, the top parabola, and carry it on, we have 1 point here, and by symmetry there must be another point over here. Obviously, if the x value here is 4, then back here at negative 4, it will be at the same height, 24.5. So that's 2 points on that parabola. We don't know h, obviously we have to find that. X equals 8, but we don't actually know how high that is yet, so we'll leave parabola 1, and we'll go and check out parabola 2. I've got 1 point, I've got the vertex, and if I was to carry that on, I can see that by symmetry this parabola would have another point clearly over here. 14 to 20 is 6, so 6 more along by symmetry must be 26, and of course it would have the same height as this point, which was a height of 5. So now I have 3 points on this parabola, parabola 2. Arrange the 3 points in a table. I've got 14, 5, 20 and 0.5, and this last point 26 and 5. Now we've been using stat on the calculator to find the equation for that. So you have a go using stat. You could pause now, put these values into stat in the graphics calculator, and choose graph 1. In fact, if I bring this round here, so we'll put in 14, 20, 26 for the column, 5, 0.5, 5, graph 1. You can see my parabola shape. Because it's a parabola, I know it needs an x squared term, and there it is, y equals ax squared, so 0.125 x squared plus the b value is negative 5, and the c value is 50.5. So writing that over here, it was 0.125 x squared. The b value was minus 5x plus 50.5. We'll just check that's what we had. Minus 5 and the plus 50.5. Right. So that's the equation of the second parabola. Now the reason we need that is because it might help us to find a third point on this parabola. I've got 1, 2. It would be helpful, since I know that this here, this point lies on this parabola, but it also lies on this parabola. So I need to find how high the water slide is at 8 meters here. Using this equation here, when x equals 8, we want to work out the y value. Now we've been doing that on our calculator. Sounds like a job for graph. We put in the equation. There's my graph, and we want to calculate a y value when the x is 8. And that one's not going to work because clearly when it says that, we need to change the view window. Our x-axis will go from 0, let's go to 30. Y-axis can go from 0 up to 30 with the y-axis as well. This time we should be able to calculate the y value. When x equals 8, the y value is 18.5, so it's 18.5 metres tall at that point. Now I have 3 points on my curve, so this will be for parabola 1. I've got the point -4, 24.5, 0.4, 24.5, and the point 8, 18.5. So putting all that into stat on the calculator, asking for the rule, I'm going to get -0.125 x squared plus 26.5. The negative is good because I can see I've got an upside down parabola, so the negative looks correct there. And quite clearly now we can answer the question. The y-intercept, finding h, would be the y-intercept. There's many ways you can do that. You could graph the function on the calculator and choose g-solve and y-intercept, or the y-intercept happens when x equals 0. And substituting x equals 0 into this, I'm going to get times 0 plus 26.5, and obviously the answer will be 26.5 metres high. Would be the height of the top of the slide, and you could write a sentence about that. So pause, have another go on your own, see how far through that you can get.